G'day out there. Welcome to another Daily Horizon View, and the date today is the 24th of the 6th, 2019. It's a beautiful Monday. We will be looking at the ASX exchange traded funds, and the top 5's are the focus. Today our spotlight is on IEM, which is the iShares MSCI Emerging Markets ETF. Let's get stuck into it. We are here to crack your financial sky. We want to give you information and demystify the world of finances. So the top 5 percentage rises today. We saw QR, Triple O, VAP, MVR, MVA. So QR is the ETF's S&P Biotech ETF, which tracks the S&P Biotechnology Select Industry Index. Relatively small ETF, this one, roughly $5.5 million market cap. So we saw a 2.33% rise today, which equated to $1.25 on a very, very small volume of 86 shares traded. Right. Top 5 percentage falls. We are looking at QAG, IHCB, REIT, ZUS, and DJRE. So QAG is the BetaShares Agricultural ETF, which is currency hedged and it's synthetic, and it is a very, very small ETF with a rough market cap of $3.2 million. Today we saw a rise of 1.48%, which equates to, a loss of 1.48%, which equates to a loss of 9 cents. Strongish volume, I suppose, for such a small ETF. We saw 2,600 shares traded. Okay, let's have a look at the top dollar rises. We saw IHVV, VAP, QR, IKO, and IAA. So for those who have forgotten, IHVV is the iShares S&P 500 Australian dollar hedged ETF, and that one tracks the S&P 500, which is the large capitalization US equities. We have a market cap of 166 million or thereabouts. You get a small dividend if you invest in this ETF of 2.81%. Morningstar give this the highest rating possible of gold. So Morningstar like this one, and this is interesting ETF. So we saw a rise today of $2.09, which equated to 0.57% on a relatively low volume. It has to be said of 842 shares traded. Top $5 falls, we're looking at IJH, IHCB, IHEB, SPY, and IJR. So IJH is the iShares S&P Midcap 400. And as it kind of, I suppose it's sort of self-explanatory, it tracks the performance of the midcap shares sector in the US. We have a market cap of this one, roughly $160 million. You get a small dividend, but it's nothing to get too excited about. You get 1.28%. So not much of a dividend there, but we saw a fall today in the share price of $1.68, which equates to 0.6%. Pretty low volume as well. expecting a bit more volume for something more significant was happening in the market, but we saw 531 shares traded. Top 5 number of trades. We'll see some volume here, some number of trades I should say. So VAS, VAP, IVV, VTS, and VEU. So VAS is the Vanguard Australia Share Index ETF, and that tracks the S&P ASX 300. We have a market cap of $3.5 billion or thereabouts. We have a healthy enough dividend here of 4.45% or thereabouts, and Morningstar gives this ETF a bronze rating. So in effect, it is 3 out of 5. We saw a number of trades for VAS of 333, substantially higher than the next best at 189, predominantly on the buy side because we saw a rise in the share price of 22 cents, which equates to 0.26%. Moving on now to the top 5 for volume, we saw Fuel, AAA, IOZ, PM Gold, and VAF. So Fuel is the BetaShares Global Energy Companies ETF. That's currency hedge. It tracks the NASDAQ Global X Australia Energy Index, I should say. Market cap of just over $33 million, so on the smaller end of the ETF spectrum. We should expect to see a dividend of roughly 2.9% for that one when I checked last. We saw a volume of 923,300 shares traded, which is quite a large volume of shares traded today. So obviously someone likes this one. Most people pushing up on the buy side. So we saw a rise of 3 cents, which equates to 0.52%. I'm sure we'll see Fuel in the following slides as well. Top 5 for value, we saw AAA, VAS, IVV, Fuel, and VAP. AAA, so for those who have forgotten, is the BetaShares Australia High Interest Cash ETF. So that one invests funds in high interest deposit accounts in Australia, banks such as ANZ, CBA, NAB. That has a market cap of roughly $1.4 billion. You expect a dividend here of 2.03%. Morningstar give it a rating of neutral. So that's always an option instead of putting your money in the bank. So we saw a value today of $9.2 million. Pretty much everything's flat. No, obviously no share price rise or share fall, but we're seeing some volume coming to that. And one reason would be, as mentioned before, it's another way to get a little bit of a yield on your money instead of having it sit in the bank and get no interest. So this is another relatively safe way to actually do that. So still get a little bit of effectively a dividend yield is your interest payment. I suppose you could look at it like that. So it's an option. Okay, slipping into the spotlight now. As mentioned before, it was IEM, which is the iShares MSCI Global Markets ETF. We have an investment objective here. The fund seeks to track the investment results of the index composed of large and mid-cap emerging markets equities. So the index is the MSCI Emerging Markets Index, which is designed to measure equity market performance in the global emerging markets. I think from memory there's 20 odd countries in the index or thereabouts or something like that. Why would you bother buying it? It gives you exposure to large and small size companies in emerging markets. as we'll see later, it's heavily skewed towards China, obviously. So easy access to 800 plus emerging market stocks in a single fund. You can use it to diversify internationally and seek long-term growth opportunities in your portfolio. We'll have a look at that in the next slide. Click through these. So we can see a net asset value at the close yesterday of 62.24, closed today at 61.81, market cap just above $634 million. Major cost, I think that's sort of edging up towards the expensive side at 0.67%. Distribution frequency semi-annually, January and July. Small dividend yield, we can see here at 1.84%. So emerging market ETFs such as IEM are likely to be volatile and are best suited to a patient long-term investor as part of a diversified portfolio. So the average investor thinking about including emerging markets ETFs in their portfolio might think about an allocation somewhere between 2.5% to 4.5%. And that's just to be on the safe side, and that's just how I'd set my portfolio up if I was including this type of ETF into my overall system. A little bit of a tidbit here I thought was interesting. So some people may know Ray Dalio. He runs the Bridgewater Associates hedge fund. They're the world's largest hedge fund, and they have funds of $160 billion under management, and he's investing in this ETF as well. So he invests in IEMG, which is the primary listing of IEM on the NASDAQ, so the New York Stock Exchange. He has 13% of Bridgewater's portfolio invested in IEM. So he's quite encouraged by emerging markets, and that's kind of where they're putting their bet, I suppose. I mean, they have a lot more information than what we do, the average punter. So, 13% is probably a bit too high for the average guy, but definitely, if one of these big guys is looking at this type of ETF, I mean, he's buying ETFs. This is obviously it's the fourth or fifth largest holding in his portfolio, so he actually does majority of his investing with ETFs. So just something to sort of in the back of your mind. These guys are using these type of products as well, so it's not just for the small end of town, the mum and dad investor. With all that being said, you should also have a look at WEMG, EMKT, and VGE for a comparison. Just to see, if there's any variation, and these things might be more, the other options might be more suited to you. But as always, we always need to do our research. Let's have a quick look at the next slide. So there's your hypothetical growth. If you'd invested 10 grand in it at the end of 2003, that's kind of what you'd be looking at now, 40 grand, so not too bad. You can see the top 10 holdings on the right-hand side here. So Tencent, Alibaba, Taiwan Semiconductor, Samsung, Napsters, China Construction Bank, Ping An Insurance, China Mobile, Reliance Industries, and Housing Development Finance Corporation. So some of those I've heard of, some of those I haven't heard of, predominantly Chinese companies from what I can see. So hence the skew to China. I think it's about 63% of total holdings is Chinese companies. So definitely one to have a look at. Gets a neutral rating from Morningstar. So yeah, I'd just have a look at it, and if you're interested in emerging markets, make sure you can do the comparisons between the other three examples I've given there as well. Other three options, I should say. Hi guys, yes, this is our little standard disclaimer. I do not know your personal circumstances, and this is not financial advice. I'm not trying to promote any particular thing here. It's educational. I'm just showing you guys what's out there and what the possibilities are. So please take that into consideration. My mission is to crack your financial sky by demystifying the world of finances. We're here to give you information so you guys can do that. Give me a thumbs up, hit the subscribe, smash the bell so you know when all the videos are coming. Hopefully we're helping out with the information we're providing and at least giving you guys a little bit of encouragement to go out and have a look and take charge of your own financial world. Ciao.